This is his 24th pole in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. His first pole in 2010, and also his first pole at Bristol. So Jimmy's posted a win here at Bristol earlier this year. Now he's got his first Coors Light pole here at Bristol. So Jimmy, looks like things are lining up for another good performance for you tomorrow night.
Yeah, we definitely have things going right before us. So far, good qualifying effort. Race practice went well. We were near the top 5 on the fastest lap throughout most of practice. It felt like our car was very consistent, and we were a bit puzzled with how much the groove has widened out and where we think the ideal line to race is come race time. We spent a lot of time focused on the bottom of the racetrack, including in qualifying and running our lap there. And I mean, there was a lot of question and concern in my mind. I went on top of the transporter and watched all the guys go, and nobody made the bottom work until late when the 20 went out. So that gave me hope, but I really couldn't change directions at that point because we'd set the car up to run on the bottom for qualifying, and felt like it would be foolish to kind of change things and introduce a different line with the setup that we had kind of fine-tuned. So that we did things right there, but that's also the mindset in race trim. I mean, typically the bottom is the place to be, and we focused a lot working the bottom in race trim and some up top. But we'll just have to see in the race. I think my car drove easier the higher I went, so I don't feel like I'm going to be out to lunch spending so much time focused on the bottom. But just an interesting day. This tire was a lot different, laid down a lot more rubber. Seemed to be a little bit looser at the beginning, but we did a good job adjusting to it.
Questions now for Jimmy? Anybody have a question? Go ahead, Tom, right over here to the right.
Hey Jimmy, Tom Jensen, Speed.com. How important is the all-important first pit stall of the year? How much of an advantage do you have with that?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, I was starting once, on the front row once, from the pole once, because of points. And we just didn't have a competitive race. Actually, I think I crashed early in the race for some reason and couldn't take advantage of that first pit stall. But I've seen a lot of people over the years take advantage of it, and I'm very, very excited to have that and hope to take advantage of it tomorrow night.
We'll go Reed and then come over here to Steve.
Reed Spencer with Sporting News. Jimmy, atypically, over the last 6 races, qualifying hasn't been an issue for you at all, but you haven't been able to convert those qualifying efforts into the finishes that you normally do. What's been different about that stretch of races, and also which lane are you likely to pick at the start, outside or inside?
I haven't thought about the start of the race. I think the outside may be the preferred spot. Watched a little bit of the truck race, and it seemed like that worked well for guys. And tonight's nationwide race will teach us a lot, what to do there. As far as qualifying well, we have been doing that, and it's over the years past, it's been a sore spot for us, and I feel confident that we're doing the right things there. But if you look at the 1.5 mile racetracks and above, I don't think through the summer months we have had the package we need. And I can burn off a fast lap, I can be fast in the practice sessions, I can be fast in our qualifying effort. But when you get into the heart of the race and longer runs and the series of long runs, we seem to fade a little. And I think that we're not where we want to be on the 1.5 mile, 2 mile tracks yet. There's not a lot of time left, but there's still a month left before the chase starts, and I think another 4 or 5 weeks, I guess, in total before the first 1.5 mile race in the chase. So we have time to figure some stuff out, and we have some good ideas. We made some decisions after Michigan to revamp some cars and to do some things differently, and we're hoping that will pay off going into Atlanta, and we get a good gauge on things in Atlanta and then moving forward. And I say Atlanta, and I don't want everybody to think that Atlanta is a real telltale sign for us, because we haven't been that good at the 48 team there. So our goals in Atlanta may be different than winning a race. If we can run competitive, be in the top 4 or 5 throughout the whole day, I think that would be a very good indication of the 48 team going the right way. Yeah.
Go ahead, Steve.
Steve Post with MRN Radio. Chad, and you kind of just talked about it a little bit when Reed asked you about starting on the outside line. But talk a little bit more, what kind of racing do you think we're gonna see? Is it gonna be the outside lane, and what does that do to the mindset of running Bristol? Because it appears that things have changed over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's changing like this. I mean, the asphalt wears out much more, and concrete stays very consistent. We've seen the outside lane work better and better each time, but I guess the teams are getting smarter and are planning to run the top lane. The bottom works. I think you'll need to run the bottom to work through lap cars and through traffic, but if your car isn't handling right, you have to slow the car down so much more to get to the inside lane that it's just easier to not touch the brake and let the car roll up into the banking. And once you hit the banking, it really helps the car change directions and get going for you. So you may not win the race on the bottom, but you're going to have to run well on the bottom to get through traffic and to make stuff happen. So I think the preferred lane will be middle to top as we get going in the race, which is totally backwards for this place.
Let's get Mike over here, Shad.
Mike Muller, about these tires now. I've watched Goodyear for years and years. That they show up and give you something that basically nobody really knows that much about. Even if you do a tire test, they might bring out something different. Is that part of a plan? I mean, how much do you really know about these tires out here? And when you both you did do the test, I mean, how much of this just, some of these guys is just like, wow, I don't know, this is the tire.
Yeah, it is tough, and to their credit, you know, they have a lot of tracks to build tires for, and it's tough for Goodyear to make everybody happy all the time, and to tire test enough and get all the teams a chance to collect data. One thing they do is they give the same data to all the teams, and that's, I mean, as long as we're all getting the same information, that's helpful. We used to be able to do some of the tire testing because we had access to tires and did some stuff on our own, and we can't do that stuff anymore. So it's a pretty even playing field. If you do have a chance to tire test, you think you're going to gain an advantage, but when we look at our organization after the Watkins Glen tire test, Jeff came home really, really excited, and we went up there grinning, thinking, you know, we've got something special. We sucked. I mean, it took us a long time to get stuff right. So they at the end of the day, they have to do what they feel is right for the tire, and it may not always work for the garage area. And sometimes it works for a handful of teams, other times it works for the majority. You just never know. It's one of the variables that we have to deal with week in, week out. I'm not saying it's not frustrating either. I mean, it is frustrating from time to time, but I don't know how else to go about it, you know?
Move across here to the right, go ahead.
Jim Sackler, Bristol Paper. You win in March, you grab the pole tonight. What does that do for your confidence going into tomorrow night with those two nice little goodies packaged together?
For me, it's kind of checking things off the list, especially this weekend. Good practice session, we did it, qualified well. Now we need to debrief and make sure we make the right adjustments for tomorrow's race. And then you can't overthink it because this race changes so much during the course of the night. You have different strategies. The leader you'd think is in a safe spot, but sometimes he's in the eye of the storm. So you just don't know. We'll make sure that we're buttoned up and organized and ready, but still tomorrow we've got to think on our toes and do our best job to be heads up during the race. Yeah.
Anything else for Jimmy? Okay, Jimmy, thank you. Congratulations on winning the Coors Light pole, and good luck tomorrow night.